I thought I would take a moment to do an in-depth analysis of Art Garfunkel. This is Art Garfunkel. Art Garfunkel. Art is short for Arthur. Art Garfunkel, performs in a band, according to the spine of this record sleeve, performs in a band called Garfunkel. Garfunkel. Some people mistakenly spell Garfunkel with the L and the E crossed up. Gar. But that's not correct. This is the correct spelling, according to the album. Now these are Art Garfunkel's eyebrows right here. He has very thin eyebrows. They match the color of his hair. He does not have a monobrow. Some men have a monobrow, which means that they have eyebrow hair that grows between their eyebrows. Art Garfunkel does not have a monobrow. These are Art Garfunkel's eyes, here and here. And these are his eyeballs, or his colored parts of his eyes. In the middle are his pupils. It looks like he has blue eyes, or maybe bluish-green eyes. Now, as far as I can tell from the photo, I don't think he wears glasses, although he may have on contact lenses. So if he does, these would be his contact lenses. And if he did wear glasses, then these would be his glasses right here. Now his glasses would hook onto his ears. So right here are Art Garfunkel's ears. He has one on the left. Now this looks like it's on the right, but that's just because the photo is facing us. This is his left ear, and that's his right ear. And it looks like the right ear is a lot bigger than the left ear, but I think that's just because his head is turned a little bit in the photo. Because that would be a really weird imbalance of ears. Now next to his ears are his sideburns. See, he has little sideburns right next to his ears. So here are his sideburns. And he doesn't have mutton chops. You know, these are relatively short sideburns. See, some guys have like big mutton chop sideburns that come all the way down here. Like that. But he doesn't have that. He just has little baby sideburns. And some guys will have not just sideburns, but they'll have a whole mustache and beard. And he doesn't have that either. He just has these little sideburns here. Now down here you have his mouth, right here. That's where his mouth is, and his lips. Now he has very nice lips. I can imagine that he was very popular with kissing women in the set. And, you know, here's his lips right here, and if he wore black lipstick, like if he was in a goth group, then it would look something like this. But he doesn't do that. Now, up here, this is his afro, we'll call that. Now, I don't know if it's formally an afro, or if he just has curly hair, you know, naturally curly hair, or maybe he has kind of straight hair and it's just sort of wavy, or maybe he went and got what they call a permanent, or a perm. So maybe he has a perm. Now you can see right here he has a sort of male pattern baldness, like up here and here and here. He's probably going bald. He probably has gone bald. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he still has a full head of hair. Even at this album was probably recorded in the 1970s, and he looked like he was in his 20s then, so I'd say he's probably born in 50, so he's probably 65, 70 years old now. Maybe he's bald as a cue ball, but maybe he still has a big, full afro. Still, maybe he has a big, full head of hair. Maybe he has a ponytail going down like this. You know, some musicians have a ponytail. So we don't really know what Art Art. We won't call him Arthur. He likes to be called Art. We don't really know what Art Garfunkel has now, but as of this photograph, he had sort of a curly afro. Now, down here you can see the hair on the back of his neck. Like it says in the song, back of my neck getting dirty and gritty, and he looks pretty clean. It doesn't look like there's a lot of dirt or grit back there, just a little bit of wispy hair on the back of his neck, and you can see some hair on his shoulders. And down here you can see a lot of hair on the front of his neck. It's almost, he's got chest hair, but then the hair kind of comes up here too. And you can see he's shaven. You know, he shaves here, this whole area, even though I drew in the beard earlier, but he didn't have a beard. So he shaves this whole area, but it must be difficult for him to decide exactly where to draw the line between shaving his neck and not shaving his chest hair. So he has a lot of chest hair, especially for a blonde fellow. I guess this is blonde hair. He's not swarthy. Now, he's wearing, I think, what's called a rugby shirt. I don't know if he plays rugby. Maybe he does. But this is kind of like a collared rugby shirt. And here's the tear in the shirt. Now, I thought Art Garfunkel was a pretty successful musician who could afford a new shirt. But you can see right here, there's a tear in the shirt. And right here, I'll trace it with the marker. There's like a loose thread just coming right out of the tear. Now here are his shirt buttons. I don't think, obviously this is not a full body shot. I don't think that these buttons go all the way down the shirt. I think there's probably 3 buttons, and then the collar of the shirt comes to a stop, and then the shirt continues, and he probably has short sleeves. But then again, if it's a rugby shirt, it's going to have long sleeves. If it's a golf shirt, or as they call it, PK, then it's going to have short sleeves. So that's his shirt right here. And I don't know if he has some kind of logo on it or some kind of number, like he might have a big 01 on there on the front, but we can't see that. We can't see his shirt. Now, you can't see the back of his head, but back here, you know, back and back here, from depending on your perspective, is the back of his head. And this is just speculation. This photo was taken before we had computer modeling software and things like that. So we have to kind of imagine what's on the back of his head. And I'm going to guess it's just probably some more of this curly hair, you know, just like he has on the front of his head. And then there's probably a neckline where the hair kind of just merges into whatever sort of hair he has on his back. And here again is his collar that comes around the back of his neck and protects the back of his neck from the sun so he doesn't get sunburned. Here's a buttonhole in his collar. And now, even though he was a relatively young man at this time when this photo was taken, you can see he has some lines. I wouldn't call them wrinkles necessarily, but he has some lines in his forehead like this and this right here. Are there any other ones? Not too many. You know, he's got a couple little crow's feet right there. And that's probably a little bit from age and a little bit from life as a rock and roll star. Now, off here in the background, this is, well, we don't really know what this is. This could be a forest. This could be a shrubbery. This could be trees. You know, just some trees, but not formally a forest. It could be a painted theater backdrop. But because the photographer used a very shallow depth of field, we can't see what's in the background. We don't know. There could be people back there behind him. There could be a picnic going on. He could be just by himself in the field somewhere. He may have set the camera up on a tripod and taken the photograph of himself. We don't know that. But so here we have, you know, to sum up a little bit, here's Art Garfunkel. You know, his shirt, his chin. Forgot to mention his chin. Here's the chin. And here are his cheeks. See, he's got, now this is his right cheek, right, and this is his left cheek. Again, he's facing us. So it looks backwards, but this is the right and this is the left. So he's got cheeks and a chin, cheeks and chin, and this is his forehead. You know, he had where the baldness or the possible baldness is starting. Here's his forehead, and here's his nose. See, he has his nostrils. See, he can breathe in and out of his mouth here, but he also can breathe out of his nostrils here. And then he has eyelids and he has eyelashes. And so he could keep dust out of his eyes with his eyelashes. He could blink his eyes to sort of clean his eyeballs. I think that's why you blink your eyelids. And then sound goes into his ears here. But if he talks or sings, then sound comes out of his mouth here, you know, here, and it comes into out in different directions. And then more sound can come in the other ear. Like if he's recording stereo. If he's recording mono, then he's going to just have a sound coming in one ear. But if he's recording stereo, then it's going to come in both ears. And then right up here, now he doesn't have it on in this photo, and he may never have had one on, but he could wear a baseball cap. See, and the brim would come down kind of like this, and maybe he's a Boston Red Sox fan, so he'll have like a B logo up here. So he could go to Fenway Park and he could see the game, and then he could fit in because he'd have a baseball cap and no one would really even see the afro. Of course, when this photo was taken, afros were probably in style, so he wouldn't have really stood out in the crowd. So this is, this is really just kind of a concise history, a brief analysis of Art Garfunkel and his hair and his forehead and his eyes and his eyelashes and his eyebrows and his nose and his nostrils and his lips and his mouth and his ears and his holes in his ears and his sideburns and the beard that he doesn't have and his neck and his chest hair and his rugby shirt and his collar and his buttons and his buttonholes and the O1 that he doesn't have or might have on his shirt and the hair on the back of his neck, the hair on the back of his head, and his baseball cap that he wears sometimes or maybe not at all. I hope that cleared things up about Art Garfunkel.